when the melody of song turns into just a mere whisper. My name on his lips is always like a wrong antidote given to a lion. Eyes like his, but never gazed at me. His lion he cheered for, but never claimed. As I began to chase his shadows, he walked away. I craved for love, but the poison of heart was given to me in return. Maybe I was meant never to be seen. I was meant never to be met. My day became my nightfalls. Nathan sat at the edge of his bed, the dim glow of the street light creeping through the blinds. The small bedroom felt colder than usual, the air heavy with silence. He traced patterns on the wooden floor with his toes, listening. Down the hall, his father's voice echoed, deep, commanding, yet never for him. The sound of laughter followed, his younger sister giggling at something their father had said. Nathan swallowed hard. His lion he cheered for, but never claimed. He clenched his fist, the words from his poem still ringing in his mind. His father's love was a feast set on a table where Nathan was never invited. A soft knock at the door. His mother peeked in, her eyes filled with quiet concern. "Nathan, come eat." He shook his head. "Not hungry." She sighed but didn't push. "Okay. Just don't stay up too late." The door clicked shut. Nathan leaned back against the wall, staring at the ceiling. The world outside moved on, but inside, he remained trapped in the same question. Why wasn't he enough? Nathan lay on his bed, staring at the cracks on the ceiling. The house was quiet now. His mother had gone to bed. His sister too. But he knew his father was still awake. He could hear the sound of the TV from the living room. A soccer match. His father loved soccer. He would shout at the screen, cheer for his favorite team, and sometimes even call Lily to sit with him. But never Nathan. He used to try. He used to sit at the edge of the couch, hoping his father would notice him, ask him to stay. But his father never did. So, Nathan stopped trying. Tonight, the silence felt heavier. He turned to the side and hugged his pillow. His chest ached, but not in a way anyone could see. Maybe I was meant never to be seen. A soft breeze came through the window, making the curtains dance. Nathan closed his eyes, trying to push away the thoughts. But they stayed. They always stayed. Tomorrow would be another day. Another day of pretending he didn't care. Another day of hoping his father might look at him differently. But deep down, he already knew the truth. His father would never love him the way he wanted. And maybe, just maybe, he should stop waiting for it. Nathan woke up to the smell of fried eggs and toasted bread. The sun peeked through his curtains, casting long shadows on the walls. For a moment, he forgot everything, the heaviness in his chest, the emptiness in his father's eyes when he looked at him. But then, voices from the kitchen pulled him back to reality. Lily was laughing again. His father's deep voice followed, warm and full of life. Nathan's stomach clenched. He got out of bed, dragging his feet to the bathroom. He stared at himself in the mirror. Same brown eyes as his father. Same sharp jawline. But somehow, they were strangers. Downstairs, the sound of dishes clinking filled the air. "Nathan, come eat." His mother's voice rang out. He took a deep breath before stepping into the kitchen. Lily sat next to their father, swinging her legs under the chair. His father was reading something on his phone, sipping coffee. The moment Nathan sat down, the warmth in the room seemed to disappear. His father didn't even look up. Nathan reached for a piece of toast. "You're late," his father said, still staring at his phone. Nathan's hand froze. His throat tightened. Lily giggled. "Daddy made the eggs today," she said, grinning. Nathan forced a small smile. "That's nice." His father finally looked at him, but only for a second. Eat quickly. Don't be late for school. That was all. No good morning. No warmth. Just a cold instruction. Nathan swallowed the lump in his throat and took a bite of his toast. It tasted like nothing. His mother watched him from across the table. She didn't say anything, but he knew she saw it. She always saw it. But she never did anything about it. And so, breakfast continued like every other day, Lily's laughter, his father's attention on anything but him, and Nathan, sitting there, pretending he didn't care. But he did. More than anything, he did. Nathan slipped his backpack over his shoulder and headed out the door. The cool morning air brushed against his face as he walked down the street. Kids on bikes raced past him, their laughter echoing through the neighborhood. At school, Nathan kept to himself. He was good at blending into the background, moving through the crowded hallways like a ghost. Teachers called his name during roll call, but it was just another word in a sea of noise. During lunch, he sat alone at a corner table, poking at the unappetizing meatloaf on his tray. Across the cafeteria, a group of boys from his class were joking around, tossing a football back and forth. One of them, Jake, noticed Nathan and walked over, football tucked under his arm. "Hey, Nathan," Jake said, dropping into the seat across from him. "You coming to practice today?" Nathan shrugged. "I dunno. Maybe." Jake frowned. "Coach says you've got potential. You should give it a shot." Nathan's eyes drifted to the football in Jake's hands. He liked football. But every time he thought about joining, he pictured his father's disinterested face, the way he only cheered for Lily at her dance recitals. "Maybe," Nathan repeated, looking away. Jake sighed. "All right, man. Let me know." He gave Nathan a pat on the back before heading back to his friends. Nathan watched them for a moment, the way they laughed and pushed each other around. A pang of longing hit him, sharp and unexpected. Maybe he was tired of being invisible. Maybe, just maybe, he wanted to be seen. The bell rang, pulling him out of his thoughts. He grabbed his bag and headed to his next class, but his mind was elsewhere, replaying Jake's words. Potential. What if he really did have it? What if he could be someone his father couldn't ignore? As he slipped into his seat, a tiny spark of hope flickered in his chest. Maybe it was time to stop hiding in the shadows. Maybe it was time to chase something for himself. Nathan stood on the edge of the football field, his heart pounding. The sun was high, beating down on the green turf. The rest of the team was already stretching and tossing the ball back and forth. He hesitated. Did he really belong here? "Hey. You made it." Jake jogged over, tossing the ball up and catching it with ease. "Coach will be happy. He thinks you've got a good arm." Nathan gave a small nod. "Yeah. I just thought I'd give it a try." Jake grinned. "That's the spirit. Come on." Nathan followed him toward the group, nerves creeping up his spine. What if he messed up? What if he wasn't good enough? He shoved the doubt aside as the coach blew the whistle. "All right, boys. Let's see what you got." Nathan fell into line, copying the other players as they ran drills. At first, he struggled, his passes were weak, and he fumbled the ball twice. His frustration grew with every mistake, but he refused to quit. Then, something changed. On his third try, he gripped the ball tighter, focused, and threw a perfect spiral across the field. It landed straight into Jake's hands. "Whoa!" Jake shouted. "That was sick, man." Nathan blinked, stunned. The coach nodded in approval. "Not bad, Daniels. Keep that up, and you might just earn a spot." For the first time in a long time, Pride swelled in Nathan's chest. After practice, he sat on the bleachers, wiping sweat from his forehead. Jake plopped down beside him. "Told you you had potential." Nathan let out a small chuckle. "Yeah, I guess." "You gonna tell your dad?" Jake asked, casually tossing the ball in his hands. Nathan stiffened. The pride in his chest faded. He imagined his father's blank expression, the way he never cared about anything Nathan did. "No," he muttered, staring at the ground. "It doesn't matter." Jake frowned but didn't push. "Well, if you ever want him to come watch, let me know. Parents show up all the time." Nathan nodded but didn't respond. He already knew the truth. His father wouldn't come. His father never did. Nathan walked home after practice, his legs sore but his mind racing. He had done something good today, something that made him feel sane. But the moment he stepped onto his street, reality settled in like a heavy weight on his shoulders. The house was quiet when he entered. His mother was in the kitchen, humming softly as she chopped vegetables. The smell of stew filled the air. "You're late," she said without turning around. "Did you stay after school?" "Football practice," Nathan muttered, dropping his bag by the door. His mother froze for a second before turning to him. "Football." Nathan braced himself for the same indifference his father would show. But to his surprise, her lips curved into a small smile. "That's great, Nathan," she said gently. "Does your father know?" Nathan scoffed. Why would he care? His mother sighed, wiping her hands on a towel. "Nathan, you should tell him." "It doesn't matter, Mom," Nathan cut in, his voice sharp. "He won't come. He won't even ask about it." His mother opened her mouth but closed it again. She didn't argue. She couldn't. Because deep down, she knew Nathan was right. Just then, the front door opened, and his father walked in, his phone in hand. He barely glanced at Nathan before walking past him. Nathan clenched his fists. For a brief second, he wanted to say it, "Dad, I made the football team. I threw a perfect pass today. The coach said I have potential." But he didn't. Because he already knew the answer. "Dinner will be ready soon," his mother called after his father, but he only gave a distracted grunt in response before disappearing into his room. Nathan's chest tightened. He turned back to his mother. "See. He doesn't care." His mother sighed, sadness clouding her eyes. "He cares, Nathan. Just in his own way." Nathan laughed bitterly. "Yeah. Then why does it never feel like it?" She had no answer for that. Nathan grabbed an apple from the counter and headed upstairs to his room. He flopped onto his bed, staring at the ceiling. Football made him feel good today. It made him feel like he mattered. But the moment he stepped back into this house, that feeling was gone. And he wasn't sure if he'd ever get it back. Football became Nathan's escape. Every afternoon, he rushed to practice, pushing himself harder each day. He stayed late, perfecting his throws, learning the plays, and proving to himself that he belonged. The coach noticed. The team noticed. Even Jake started calling him the secret weapon. For the first time in his life, Nathan felt like he was good at something. But at home, nothing changed. His father never asked where he went after school. Never asked why he came home late, sweaty and exhausted. Nathan's mother tried to show interest, asking how practice was, but it wasn't the same. One evening, as he wiped sweat off his forehead, Coach Parker clapped him on the back. "You've got talent, Daniels. Keep this up, and you'll be starting next game." Nathan's heart pounded. A real game. With an audience. With parents. As he walked home that evening, a small voice inside him whispered, maybe this is it. Maybe he'll come if I invite him. Maybe, for once, his father would see him. That night, at the dinner table, Nathan took a deep breath. Coach says I might start in the next game. His mother smiled. That's wonderful, Nathan. Lily clapped. You're gonna be on TV. Nathan chuckled. Not yet. Then he turned to his father. It's on Saturday. His father barely looked up from his plate. Nathan's chest tightened. I was hoping you'd come. For a moment, there was silence. His father set down his fork and sighed. Saturday. Nathan nodded, hope flickering inside him. His father rubbed his forehead. I'll see if I'm free. Nathan knew what that meant. He wouldn't come. But still, he forced a small smile and nodded. Okay. The rest of dinner was quiet. His mother kept glancing at him like she wanted to say something, but she didn't. That night, Nathan lay in bed staring at the ceiling, trying not to care. But deep down, it hurt. He wanted his father to see him. He wanted his father to be proud. But maybe, that would never happen.